So I will tell others also join. What we do is we do small decision. Today seems a rainy day. I do understand. Right? Today I take a little bit of time. I perfectly understand. Well, because potential rain is a big rains on the streets. And some people have dark spaces, minor problems. And top of that, in certain area, there's no water. There's no correlation between those two. Rain and no water. There is kind of, cannot be a correlation. So, yes. So, let me revise what we discussed and then let me go to the next one. And I am really sorry. On Friday, I was not able to do the lecture because there was a medical emergency. I became a father again. So, indeed, I had to stay with my wife. I was breastfeeding baby boy, and they are staying healthy and safe. So I immediately phoned sleep as an estate. I don't need to, because I took my computer wherever I was in hospital, and wherever I go, I take my computer. Immediately, because I wrote a message yesterday. In case if someone comes and this right. Yes. My machine. Okay. That's not really. I think. Right. We'll discuss let's connect. Right. So in that correlation analysis, what we do, we look at the association between two variables. Right. So two variables. So since we are taking into consideration two variables, the going part, the univariate. Yeah, this is what's it called? A bivariate tag. That's what I was telling. Why we call a bicycle a bicycle? Because the bicycle has two wheels. That's why we call it a bicycle. Biannual. Why you call it biannual? Two times per year. So that's why we call it biannual. Bicycle. So we call this a bivariate axis because we consider two variables. in a correlation analysis at a given form. Of course, you can put several variables and create a matrix, but you will interpret by taking two variables at a time. Then what did we discuss? Then I told you by looking at the correlation coefficient, you can tell different things. But before that, I explained to you the correlation coefficient ranges from what? The correlation coefficient ranges from what? Plus 100 to minus 100, isn't it? Plus 100 to minus 100. Plus 1 to minus 1, no, minus 1 to plus 1. It's not in hundreds, always minus 1 to plus 1. It can be 0, it can be in decimals, but it doesn't exceed minus 1 or plus. I'm just taking a wish. Till I know it's raining and it's terrible also. Some places it's in fact, kind of flooded. Till we continue our revision, let me call the technical industry. Something I cannot understand. Right? Then also I explain. So it can be from plus 1 to minus 1. Isn't it? What do we mean by plus 1? Plus 1 means there's a perfectly positive correlation, very strong positive correlation. Minus 1, there's a perfectly negative correlation, a very strong negative correlation. Okay, then I will ask you a small question. Minus 0.85. How can we with the correlation? Minus 0.85. Okay. The correlation came around minus 0.85. How can it be? I gave you some bands. 0 to 0.2. I call what? Very weak. Oh, what? Very weak correlation. Then 0.2 to 0.4. What's that? The slides. Please go to the slides. Just these are really 0.2 to 0.4. What is how do we do it? And try the read. One more. They can get it. No problem. I know online lectures, the students are keenly, vigilantly looking at the lecture and taking part in the lecture. Online lectures, now computer hit again. I know that that's a more efficient. So minus 0.85. So in the first few slides, you will see that I have given a table where I have told the correlation. Based on the correlation question, you can tell what kind of trend is there. So almost 0.01, 0.2, it's very weak correlation, then weak correlation, 0.2 to 0.4, then 0.4 to 0.6, what's that? Moderate correlation. 0.4 to 1. Then 0.6 to 0.8, strong correlation. 0.8 to 1, it's a very strong correlation. So now my question is, minus 0.85. How can we increase that? Minus 0.8. Yes, it's a strong negative correlation. Right. Strong negative correlation. strong negative correlation. So that's how you interpret a correlation function. This is the basic. Then also I explained to you. So I was telling you that the correlation analysis is binary analysis because it's looking at the relationship between two variables and the trend ranges from -1 to +1, -1 being what? Very strong or perfectly negative correlation, +1 being what? A perfectly positive correlation. Right. That's what we iterate. So my question to you was, if you see 0.85, 0.85 minus 0.85, how can we interpret it? So the next slide I have given that to you, the bands. I give the bands. I have given the bands. What are the bands? The bands are 0.01 to 0.2, very weak, 0.2 to 0.4, weak. Then here is between 0.85 to 1. So it's what? Since there's a negative sign, we'll say what? There is a negative, very strong. That's how we put it. So by looking at the correlation coefficient, that's how it's stupid. But hey, I told you, even before looking at that, you have to look at something else. What's that? Ah, very good. I got to ask. Excellent. What value are you going to look at? The sig value, the p value or the sig value, the significance value or the probability. Let me come to that a bit later. That was online demonstration. Right. That's what I will be talking about. Straight of doing online lectures, but again, the recording is there. Right. Right. Then I also explained the difference between correlation and causation. What's the difference between those two? Correlation and causation. Good that we have 3, 4 courses in this building, isn't it? Someone will pass here. Okay. Make it better. At least there should be things to have a teacher. And now, what they get too much to be responsibilities there. Right. So, what's the difference between correlation and causation? Causation, the term comes from what? Cause and effect. The term cause and effect, right? It's the base of causation. 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 The term comes from cause and effect. Every cause has an impact, has an effect. Right? That's why we call this independent-dependent relationship is there. Now let's take for an example. Let's say even in rainy days, you try to come to lectures, take part in lectures very actively and study. So that's a force. What's the effect? What will happen to your grades, your marks? You go up, right? Each morning you wake up and you exercise. Exercise, at least you will walk for 25 to 30 minutes each morning. What will happen to your health? Would it decrease or increase? What will happen? It will increase. That's the cause and effect relationship. Right? Cause and effect. But what I was telling is, while giving an example to you in the lecture, I was telling you that correlation might not necessarily indicate causation. Correlation might not necessarily, it might or might not. Correlation might not necessarily indicate causation. What's the example I give? Trump's what? Drowning death. Ice cream man drowning death example. Can you hear me? That is a wrong case. So what did I say? Right? So in America, they did an experiment. A scientist did an experiment. The experiment was taking data for the past 30 years, from 1970 till 2024. This scientist collected what? Temperature information. Right? And a lot of other information. Particularly, he took the ice cream consumption. Ice cream consumption. Ice cream. Then ice cream consumption. And he was listing that so all those things from 1970 till 2024. Then what was the next variable? Not a nice variable, but again, to make the point. Drowning deaths. Drowning deaths is what? When you drown, you die, isn't it? Nice. We are blessed with so many, so much water, but again, water has a very even torrential rates, right? But people, like people bathe and people use water in undesirable places like tanks, waterfalls, and some other unsafe places. Did I? Let's go down. So what Trump did was, now he has two variables. What are the two variables? One is ice cream consumption in America in tons. The other one is what? Drowning deaths. Then what Trump did? Trump then ran a correlation analysis. He ran a correlation analysis. He got a correlation coefficient of plus 0.8. Plus 0.8. Now he's about to conclude what? Consuming ice cream leads to what? Drowning deaths. From roots. But there's a positive. What? Interloop. A very positive, very strong, positive correlation. Right? A very positive, strong, very strong correlation. And now Trump is going to come to as well. Ice cream consumption leads to drowning deaths. And now he's going to bring a new law. Every morning around 3:30, he wakes up and he trips, right? Nonsense. So now he's going to announce what? That to ban ice cream. He has concluded eating ice cream leads to drowning deaths. But what's the real? Does ice cream consumption leads to drowning deaths? No. What's the real reason? Temperature. When temperature goes up, what happens? People consume moist. And also, when temperature goes up in the summer season in America, they use more water. They go to waterfalls, they go to beach, right? They use more water, rivers and other things. Then what happens? Naturally, the drowning deaths also goes up. So not that ice cream consumption has led to drowning deaths, that's wrong. But what has happened is when temperature goes up, it impacts both of these variables and That's why it's low. That's why it's low. Right. Ice cream consumption does not lead to governance. But when temperature goes up, both these variables goes up. So this kind of variable is called a third variable that's involved co-founding variable. Co-founding variable. Co-founding variable. Co-founding variable. So therefore, you have to understand this. Correlation might not necessarily indicate causation. Is it? Correlation just says the relationship, the association between two variables. It might not necessarily indicate what? Causation. There's no guarantee that there's a cause and effect relationship, although there's an association like this. Then Trump finally, right, we explained that to you that your conclusions are not correct. It's the temperature that causes both to go up. So not that, but ice cream consumption has led to trouble. So finally, he did not treat that, and still in America, they consume ice cream. Tom never did that, right? I just made it up to make it interesting. But Trump is a person who didn't make that kind of decisions, right? He's a person who told what? When COVID was killing millions in America, he was the person who told what? To cure COVID-19 virus, COVID virus, what to do? Things, sanitation, like liquid. And they reflected the economy. So he's a, a kind of, I don't know, he's a very crazy person for me. But again, behind that, I see a real businessman. A very shrewd businessman. But liquid man. So some shrewd business people are liquid man. So we have to be very careful when dealing with such kind of thing. He comes in the morning with tariffs. Now what's the latest news? He's going to, on EU, European Union region, he's going to impose, what's the amount of tax he's going to 50%. So what was the response of European Union? One single word, what's that? Respect. Please show some honor in what you're doing. Show some honor in what you're doing. So likewise, we have to understand to take decisions in a more diplomatic way when it comes to international relations. Because we are all tied up. If you take mad decisions, if you take crazy decisions, one-way decisions, it will impact cascading effect. Domino effect might even take place. Right. So this is what I told you, the difference between correlation and causation. So we explain that to you. Ice cream consumption. Then I told you that you can show the correlation using a diagram. What's that diagram known as? Scatter diagram or dot diagram or scatter plot diagram. So there I told you in a two-way diagram, this is a two-way diagram, there are two axes. There are two axes. There are two axes. What are the axes? This axis is known as R. This axis is known as R. Is it axis? No. The axis is over here. Why? Why? This axis is not X. Right. So usually you represent the X-axis part. The independent of the dependent variable. Independent. In the y-axis, what do you look for? The dependent. The independent. Now let's take an example. Income, personal income, and rice consumption. Personal income and rice consumption. Income and rice consumption. What's the dependent variable? What's the dependent? Income is what? The independent variable. Independent variable is the variable that causes the other thing. What's the dependent variable in that case? Right? So now you can draw straight lines. Of course, first of all, you can draw, or you can take several thousand individuals and you can see their income as well as rice consumption. And you can draw dots. That's called scatter diagram. Is it? Scatter diagram. So you can see the relationship. Now here, what kind of relationship you can see? If you draw it, you can see almost possibility. I'll teach you how to draw this line, how to derive this line today. That's a topic, in fact. But I can say to my good students are just looking at this, except few, as you are looking at it for the first time in your life. Despite having 60 people online there. Yes. Okay, I'm just reminding you for the benefit of the day to understand. Right. So this we can see that. So you can see the relationship. There's a positive relationship. When income goes up, the rice consumption goes up. Or let's say if you don't rice, the rice itself not rice. Picks up. Okay. Picks up the cost. Goes up. I took rice for a reason. I'll tell that later. So another example is right. That I come under the regression. Right. So this is the picture of regression, and then we discussed how to do correlation analysis by taking this example, but salary and satisfaction. Salary and satisfaction we discussed. So we understood when the salary goes up, satisfaction goes up. On the other hand, we took another pair. What's that? Salary and absenteeism. We also understood of the relationship between those two variables. And also we took another relationship between height and salary. So some politicians, they were claiming what? Personal security, median income. If you are tall, you should get a security job. And if you are short, you should get a laborer job. And secretaries are usually getting higher salaries than laborers. So he was attaching the height to a particular job type as well as for the salary. Is it true? I'm not towards any politician, right? And I'm not having a political party. In fact, I would vote for a party that I believe at that time would be to do the correct thing. Seems now we are waiting for the correct things to be done, and at least you could do the correct thing or avoid doing foolish things. Doing the correct thing is good. Also, you should avoid doing foolish things. So therefore, well said. Fine. So, but again, this politician, right, was telling that personal security, beginner, if you are taller, you should get a security job, and if you are shorter, you should get a labor. And we in fact checked the point. And just we checked. Right. To do that, we went to Stata and we perform a correlation analysis. Right? But I can see no one has an idea, except few students what we are talking. That's why we have to revise. We have to revise particularly. Okay. That's why it involves motor skills. We have to do this only. Right. Okay, we did that, and I'll give you an example today for the benefit of my students. That's the I did that, but again, I'll ask you to do it. Right. But I told you a very important point. What's that? Before you look at the correlation coefficient, you have to look at what? The significance. What significance is the other side of what? Confidence. Confidence and significance are like what? Two sides of the same coin. Same coin has two sides. They hit okay. Isn't it? Likewise, this is like the two sides of the same coin. What do you mean a confidence? Now, right about 8-9 weeks, this semester will finish. And after that, you will have an exam, a closed book exam. And God bless you that you are going to have a physical test. Not an online, not a paper that you have to do online or in on-premise online paper, not a computer-based paper, not a computer-based exam. Thanks. Hello, India. Oh, just joking. I know that you are doing very fine. But revise. Take part actively in lectures if you can to progress. Then, on the day of the exam, now let's say the exam is held in this hall, right? Here on the students entry. I'm asking the student, okay, student, 1% comes in. That has come to the lectures all the days and also actively passed it. Ask that student, how confident are you that you will pass this exam? He looks straight at my eye and says, what? Sir, 100%. I'm sure that I will get an A plus. And he or she goes and walks. Right. On the confidence. Then comes another student, which I have never seen. That's the doubt there. That's the doubt every has. So a person has never considered, he comes. Here. First thing I ask, Buddha, this is the wrong hall that we have got. This is an exam. That is, he said, no eye contact. He looks down and says, sir, I came to this, sir. I'm one of your students. Okay. When? In this birth order, early birth. In this birth, sir. Okay, I don't know. Okay. So are you going to do the exam? Yes, sir. I'm going to do the exam. Answer all the kind of issues. So my mother was sick. My grandmother passed away twice. So too much workload, sir. And we had several official trips to go to there and there. Okay. But that person comes. And I asked that person, how confident are you that you will pass this exam? The person scratches his head and says, what? 50%, 50%. That's also not true. So I give you my number to you. And I found them. No, thank you. I don't need numbers. I don't need anything. Go and write it. Yeah, when they get that's clear. So what's that? Confidence. High the confidence better, low the confidence better. High the better. In statistics, you have 3 levels of confidence. What are the confidence? 90%, 95%, 99%. So would you prefer a higher level or a lower level? Would you prefer 90 or 99 or 95? What do you prefer? Higher the better or lower the better? Higher the better. Well, higher the confidence better. In a modern world also, that's what we expect, isn't it? Higher the confidence, lower the confidence, it's not good. So in statistics, you should have been taught in your earlier statistics lectures, at least in statistics, you expect a level of confidence for how much? 95. That's why it's maybe at least 95%. If there's no 95% confidence that there's a real true relationship, you would not conclude that there's a real true relationship between the two levels. So you don't have confidence. Like the student who did not come for lectures. Right. But on the other hand, in statistics, we can call the confidence level the same thing as significance level. Why? Yeah, if it is 90% confidence level, we say 10% significance. 90% confidence level, 10% significance. We can give it as 0.9 or 0.1 as a percentage or as a fraction. Here you can say 95%, 0.95. We can give it as 5%, 0.05. This data, what it gives is point. This is what it gives is this gives a fraction 0.05. Then 99% confidence level can be expressed as a significance level of 0.01. Now my question to you is, would you prefer a higher significance level or a lower significance? A lower significance level. Because why? Lower significance means higher. 1% significance means 99%. 5% significance means only 95%. Then 10% significance means only 90%. So I give you a special law. Of course, a special law. I was telling you, if there is no significance level, right? If the significance level is above 0.05, then to conclude as well, there is no real systematic relationship between the two weights. That's why I give you a special law. Don't interpret the what? Correlation coefficient. Look at the significance level, and if it is only less than 0.05, conclude. If not, you say what? There's no real systematic relationship. I give a special law on that. And I'm repeating that because of its importance. So I see. And also in your research, you have that in mind. So confidence and significance. I'm reminding it again because it's so important. 95% confidence, 5% significance. So at least you need the threshold to be met. Right. Then we did the correlation. And now look at the correlation coefficients of these variables. We can do it pairwise, or we can create a matrix. These follow matrix. This is the correlation matrix that if you run in data that will be. Now this is called what? This is called what? The diagonal. Would you see the diagonal? No. Because it's the same thing. Weight. We know weight has one. Do you need to even at least look at it? No. Take a weight, then the correlation between you and you, it's one. Nothing to see. The same variable. So you can see price, same thing. But then therefore you are going to say, okay, now let's see weight, let's say for example, and price. Here see weight. Weight and price, right? Here you can see the correlation coefficient is 0.585386. That's the correlation coefficient. The next is what? There is a row I can consider that. Significance. Keep that very well in mind. Into the state output. The second row gives the what? Significance. The third row is what? The number of observations. Right. Now tell me, what kind of relationship is there between weight and price? Now, this is about motor vehicles, not about employees. These are about motor vehicles. Now, based on the result, now they have taken for 7 motor vehicles, 74 motor vehicles. They have taken the weight in pounds and also price in US dollars. What kind of correlation is there? When the weight goes up, what happens to the price? What happens to the price? Before interpreting that correlation coefficient, which is 0.53, before even looking at that, look at whether there is a significant relationship. Is there a significant relationship? Is this less than 0.05? Is this less than 0.05? I'm asking a set of accounting students. Is this 0.0000 is less than 0.05? Yes. Oh, they don't make it. 0.05? Yes. So can you interpret the result? Yes. Because you have more than 99% correct. Because it's even less than, it's what 0.0000, there's a tiny amount at the end. A very small amount at the end. So it's even less than 0.01. So you come to what? There is a significant relationship. Right? What kind of relationship? 0.53, how can you interpret that? There's a positive correlation. Between 0.4, 0.6. 0.4, 0.6 is what? A moderate relation. A moderate relation. So you will conclude there's a moderate positive relationship between price and weight of the model. That's how. This we did online. Sir, we did that. Yeah, I did it. Some students do understand, but again, I'm reminding you, because my students, if you don't understand this, then we cannot proceed. That's all. And then now look at this. Headroom. What's headroom in the model here? Legroom and headroom. Headroom is from the head to the what? Top. Would they get a clear? Good. Right? From the head to the foot. So that space is known as the headroom. Now, what kind of relationship is there between headroom and price? Headroom and price. Headroom and price. What kind of relationship is there? It's 0.1145, isn't it? The correlation is 0.1145. And there's a significance level and 74. 74 is the number of observations. Yes. What kind of correlation is it? Is given a correct chance. You get a correct chance. Is also given. Remember this very, very. Don't look at the correlation function. First, look at the significance. Very important. The significance level is less than 0.05 or above 0.05. It's above 0.05. That means it's above 5. Then what's our conclusion? The conclusion is there is no systematic real relationship between headroom and price of a market. If this significance level is above 5%, we don't have confidence to tell that there's a real relationship. Above 5% means what? Below 95%. This significance level they are given. So don't interpret, don't say there is a weak relationship between these two variables. That's wrong. That's so make a special note out of that. I'm again and again emphasizing that. Even some researchers, some seasoned academics who does research and send us some research papers have not understood this. They still say that there's a weak positive relationship. That's wrong. That's you don't have confidence to say that. You have more than 95% confidence to say that there's a real systematic relationship. But here you can't see that. You can't see that. But the point, keep that basically in mind. Then now let me see. Okay. Weight and headroom. What kind of relationship is there? Weight and headroom. Weight and headroom. The weight of the car and the headspace of the hood. What kind of relationship is there? Weight and headroom. When let's say headroom goes up, the weight going up. Yes. We can see what? 0.4 to 0.6, that means a moderate positive relationship is there between headroom and the weight of a model. Why? Because this is less than 0.5 and you can include this. Right. How about MPG and price? Miles per gallon. Now we say kilometers per gallon or kilometers per liter, right? So that's how much kilometers this run, how many miles per gallon. That's metrics measures those things every year. So LPG and price, what kind of relationship is there? When miles per gallon goes up, what happens to the price? The pricing it happens what? First of all, look at what? When LPG and price has what? A significant relationship. This is less than 0.05. So you can interpret this result as what? Yes, there is a negative relationship, a moderately negative relationship between LPG and price, miles per gallon and price. When miles per gallon goes up, the price goes down. The price. Usually it should be the other way around. Maybe these are luxury cars. But that's how you interpret the results. Now look at the results that I did with employee salary and satisfaction. That will be there. Tell me what kind of relationship is there. What the relationship that you have got? Money goes. God bless all of us. What's the relationship? Is it significant? Yes. Because 0.000 gives somehow. What was the relationship? Plus 1. 1. Salary and satisfaction. So therefore you say what? Since it's significant, you will conclude there's a very strong positive relationship between salary and satisfaction of the employee. अभी कर मुझे हम उन्होंने देखा हम तेरा on your look at it. So we do this and we see that here I think other correlation. At least I start revision to the second phase. Well, how we go there? No, otherwise I know it's raining and it's not correct. So first thing what you have to do is go to your relevant LNS. You are 16A MOH WWD 30. So go to the LNS. And what the correlation, right? Analysis. You can say correlation. And you can see there is a data that codes itself up. Salary satisfied. Salary satisfied. Download this file. Take your time. No. The people who came a little bit late also, please open your computers and we are going to do a small exercise on what we did on that. And please go to salary satisfied. So this is under week 5. These are the week 5. You'll see that there is a file called salary satisfied. That is salary satisfaction is high. Okay, so please download that. So it's a data file, as you can see. How can you know that it's a data file or not? The extension is what? DTA. Extension file DTA, that's a data file. So it's a data file. So good. Please download this file. Take your time. So open up your computers and download, go to the limit and download this file. So this is the person that's in the go.
Then you should
All of them. Introduction. Right. Please go to the LMS and download under this file salary satisfied. So we are going to do a correlation. Step one, of course, download the data file. And let's perform a correlation. If you have any difficulty, raise your hands and I will help you. The next thing what you have to do is you have to open a data fresh session. Look, status session open. Now look at my easiest way is to go to Windows search and just type and you can see data now 19B is there. So that's a perfect package. Just click on that. And it will open data as we always do. And it says whether to check updates. You can say okay, but after that, don't press anything. Just press OK, that's it. And if you check, there are new versions or not new versions, even if you check new versions, it will check updates. Right? Then it will say install available updates. No, you don't need. You don't need. Even on new update is on 21st May. There was an update. It is updating very quickly. And it rectifies errors, bugs, and other things. But you don't need to do that for our purpose. This will do. Okay. Okay. Stating okay. Take your time. Okay, now. Open state. Load the file. Have file load. What to load the file? You open the file. Now it should be in your download folder. Go to file. Open. Go to file open. And in your download folder, now there should be that. Data session 3 salary satisfied. Press open. So it got opened. You can see here the variables are there. And did you open it? How view the file? The file content use the browse for the edit command. So shall we view that? Always when you load a file, view that. So sometimes there might be errors, you might have loaded the wrong file, etc. etc. So therefore, let's say edit or browse. We are not going to edit anything, I am going to browse. 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 Yes. Here you see salary is there in thousands of dollars. Net satisfaction level is there. Absenteeism in days are there. Height 8 centimeters are there. Okay. Everything is there. So now we have to run a correlation analysis between what? Let's say employee salary and satisfaction. First we'll run those two pairs. Then employee salary and absenteeism. Then we shall run what? Height and what? Whether height has something to do with salary. So we can minimize or we can close this data editor window and go back to data. Now we need to run a correlation. How to run a correlation? I forgot. Where do you go? You go to statistics. Then summary, table, and text. Then summary and descriptive statistics. And you go to what? Pair. So please take down these steps. If you go home, once you go home, you might forget it. So please take down these steps. Yeah, we'll take that. Yeah, Go to pairwise correlation. Select. You can select all variables, but for the explanation purposes, let's select. Well, let's select what? Salary, satisfaction, absenteeism, and select all variables. And then what? Make sure you tick these two. Are you fine with that? Make sure that you tick the number of observations, so you will see how many observations are there, and also print significance. What do they know? Then you can put all variables. You can put all variables. Salary, satisfaction, absence, height. You put all the variables that are. We'll take it together, then it's much easier. But make sure that you tick the first 2 points. The first two, what they call the review button. That's the print number and print significant. The two first options, please. That it will tell how many options are there, as well as it will tell whether it's significant or not. It's very important. And you have press OK, that's what. Oh, now it has come with this one. So again, that error is there, right? What kind of correlation is there between salary and satisfaction? Significant level less than 0.05. Is it good? Extremely good. So that's +1. You can see salary and satisfaction +1. And it's significant first of all. Is significant? Yes, it's significant. Here you can see. Here you can see. It's less than 0.01. Also, salary and absenteeism. Here also, I don't know for some reason, significant level is 1, but it should also be less than 0. This also should be 0. I don't know why data is doing that, but this is also 0. So there is significant negative relationship. A perfectly negative relationship between what? Salary and absenteeism. When salary goes up, people get motivated and they come every day to work. Okay, now tell me height and salary. There's a politician told security. We did not know. He was attaching the height with what? With the type of job. Now tell me height and salary. What kind of relationship? Very good. I'm getting down. Excellent. What do I think? I'm getting down. Very good. No relationship. No relationship. Because why? You can see height and salary, the significance level is 0.56, which is well above 0.05. In that case, we conclude there is no significant relationship. There is no systematic real relationship between height and salary of anyone. Height and salary is zero relationship pattern. No real systematic relationship. So we make a special note out of that. The regression negative to height and significance. Right. So that's what we discussed so far. Then I also allowed you to download another file and do what? Do a practice aspect. I took there what? The stress, total life satisfaction, and total offense. Okay. So shall we do it as it? I come to one of course. For that, now this one, is there any questions? You have to look at what? You have to look at the significance level. If the sig level is less than 0.05, only you have to interpret the result. If not, you say what? If the sig level is above 0.05, you conclude that there is no systematic relationship between the variables. Simple issue. Right. Then let's go back to the LMS. LMS again. There is another file called Data Section 3 Survey for ED. Can you see that? Under week 5. Under week 5. Right. Under week 5. Go to Data Section 3 Salary Satisfied. You know that. So please download. That's also what? Import there is nothing to import by. It's the extension is .dta. .dta means what? It's a data file. If it is Excel, then you have to import. Right? If it is Excel, you have to import that. If it is a data file, it's DT. Right? If it is a SPSS file, SPSS file, then what? .sav. Likewise, by looking at the extension, you can decide. So I have converted it already to data. So don't import. Just open. Let's do it. So download that file and go to Stata. Now you have opened another file. To close this file, you can close Stata and you can reopen. But on the other hand, you can do a command to clear the memory. Now what's noted? salary satisfaction absence height. Now I want to close that file and load the new file. How can I do that? You can give a command, right? Close all, clear all. Just give the command, clear all. Clear all. That means clear the memory of state. All the memory. To close an existing file in data, to open a new file, I recommend using what? Clear all. Clear all. Then, here the file will be gone. Whether the file again. Clear all. Hit enter. Yes. Now there's nothing. Now if you give the command browse, it will go blank data entry. The browse the button, but there is pending. Blank. Now open the newly downloaded file. What's the newly downloaded file? Data session 3 survey for ET file. But then of the open until download file. How can you do that? You go to file. Go to open, not import. And go to the download section. The download section you can see what? Where? Station 3 survey for ET. Download කරගන්න ඒක කොහෙන්ද download කරන්නේ? LMS එකේ. The LMS yes. Station 3. Station 3 just salary satisfaction I think download that and you can open that. Let me open that. How do you see a new file? Now open the session 3 survey for ED file. Now to view the contents, what's the command? Browse command. And if you want to edit that, you can use even edit. I'm going to use browse because I'm going to do edit. There are 120 hot variables. Variables, but I would say the relationship between these. Age and life satisfaction. Stress and life satisfaction. And total optimism and life satisfaction. First, locate those variables. The variables तीन एक एक तरह. इससे ला बनाना कोई तो नहीं age जगह थी. So where is the age? ये age is here. Age is here. Age variables. Then life satisfaction variable. You can search that as well. You can say age. You can say age. Age variable comes. The first part is age. Choose that. Then life satisfaction. You can go and choose under filtering. You can enter the variables. You can say life satisfaction. There you can see there's a variable called T life sat. T life sat is total life satisfaction. Age is age of employees. T life sat is total life satisfaction. Then there is another variable for optimism. You can see there is a variable called top team. What's top team? Total optimism. Now I will see the relationship between these three variables in pairs. Can you reject and tell me? The randomly selected student, I come and ask you to comment percent in front and see how you are going to interpret the response. Okay, start. One of the Vasana one time Vasana. Other Panthis that I person develops. Randomly select करला. और एक district दिया हो.
Kalau bahasa mantia है bahasa mantia kalau देखिए
Any questions? Yeah. Age is the age. Then property is the total of the research. Kalau bahasa mantia है bahasa mantia kalau You can get assistance, ask from your friends and get assistance, right? Please speak with your friends. So, shall we see who is going to be the winner? Who is going to come and present? No, I'm not going to do that. Because this is a Sunday and a rainy day. Today, hospitals are understaffed. It was a cowboy with a Matata Kaliti having second one leg can get crushed there. Stop, so therefore I have to ask you, so don't worry, relax. Okay, let's see how to do the correlation. So go to statistics. And then summary and descriptive statistics, summary tables and tests. Then pairwise score. Then select A. Then select but A. Go down. Go little bit down. Come out license. 3 license. And go a little bit up. Then you can see property is also and make sure to take what? These two. Make sure you take print number and print serial. And you press on. Okay, now let's interpret the result. age and total life satisfactions. What kind of relationship is there? Is there a secure relationship? Yes. Because why? It's less than 0.05. I have taken a wrong way. I should have taken T life set. You are correct. There's no. If there are relationship, again, you are correct. Age and total life satisfaction. One then are able to get this. T life set. The significant level is what? Above 0.05. Then can we say that there is a weak positive correlation between age and total life satisfaction? You can't. You conclude as well. There is no systematic real relationship between age and total life satisfaction. That's how you know. Understood? Then how about age and life satisfaction and optimism? Let's say optimism and life satisfaction. If you're optimistic, what happens to life satisfaction? Is there a relationship significant? Yes. Why? This is less than 0.05, it's even less than 0.01. That means you have more than 99% confidence. But there is a real relationship. Right? That's all. So in that case, how you interpret? It's 0.4 to 0.6, so it's what? A moderate. There's a positive moderate relationship between total optimism and total life satisfaction. Can we check stress and total life satisfaction? There's a variable called TP stress, total perceived stress. Just take total perceived stress and life satisfaction. TP stress and life satisfaction. TP stress. Variable have zero TP stress, total perceived stress. Take a life satisfaction and variable look up the what kind of relationship is there? Now you take stress, TP stress, and life satisfaction. Stress and life satisfaction. Is there a significant relationship? Yes. It's less than 0.05. Less than 0.05. There is a significant relationship. So you can interpret the coefficient. What's the interpretation? There is a significant negative moderate. It's minus 0.49. Minus 0.49. That's in between what? 0.4 to 0.6. So it's a moderate negative relationship. So what does it mean? When stress goes up, what happens to your satisfaction? It goes negative. Right. Good. I think my students got the idea. This is what we discussed on one. Oh, yeah, on Tuesday. On Tuesday. But again, I understood except 3 or 4 students. Others had no idea what I was doing. So that's why I gave you a revision. So that's why I gave you a revision and I have some example. Right? So now after this, I'm going to start with the revision answer. So shall we take a small break? Break at Colombo. And then I have for a survive. Comment 10:15.
මට එක්ස්පෝර්ට් කරලා උපරිස් මට ඒවත් එක්ස්පීරියන්ස් එකක්. තාම අපි පොලිස් මට තියෙන මේ ෂෝට් CA මාකට් එක. ඒක නිසා මම බලච්ච එකකින් හදන්න වෙලා
අපේ ගෲප් එකේ තව කෙනෙක්ට මේ CMX 40ක් තිබ්බා. 40ක් තිබ්බා අනිත් එක නේද 55යි එහෙමද. මට තමයි 25.
ඒක මට වෙන ගෲප්ස් දෙකක් තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේ මට ගෲප් වයිස් මතකයි
Group wise.
මේ බලනකොට ඒක සම්පූර්ණ නිකන් එක ඊටස් වල චෙක් කරනකොට ඒක කියලා නිසා මොකද මාක්ස් ආවා කියන එක ඊට පස්සේ ඒ වගේ දෙක ගෲප් වලට විශේෂයෙන් බලපාලා තියෙන මොන මේ වගේ දීප්ලි ඇනලයිස් කරලා කේස් කොහොමද ඇනලයිස් කරලා බලන්න මොකද වෙලා ඒකත් විලාස් ඊට පස්සේ කන්ට්‍රෝල් බලන්න මේක කරලා මේ මම හිතන්නේ වෙස්ටර්න් ලෙන්ඩින් expected performance like but we see, but again. 87.
Send a message like that.
What's the down?
Seven five.
837. 837.
And then Mr. Hari. Harrison also that number, and maybe that. Casansa. Casansa. So thank you, sir. Calls of another month with the only. ये आपे नए रिसर्च
मेल मेसेज रिसर्च
नो आपे रिसर्च है
टेक्निकल इशू क्या मैसेज था डिलीट करना और स्टडी जाने वाले
वैसे डिलीट कर
बता सकते हो जिस निवल डिलीट कर काल डिलीट कर देना हो इस ये वाला कमांड है उसे लेना और ये का this there was a technical issue and builder application बोला क्या पता है बोला
अब पहले किसने में और थोड़ा ये Marulia? Enda? Ganta. Bagata? I need that again. And we can get more by What a
Yeah, I'll check that and just there. Please speak it back. Other thing is because actually because other week. What's that the thing? I think that whether you did this. So please say some English or something. I just check it. We try to give all of the no, we was to the lesson. And there's a last one. I'll that's my complete. But down my every side
Please ask other source and join. So welcome more students. And regarding DBS, I got some DBS pages. So I got some grievances and I look into that. I asked your batch leader, Prakash, to look into that. And to hear this of students who are having the grievances, there are CA marks, share and issue CA marks, and also what kind of issue that they think that they have. And they would like, so I asked you to send me ASAP as soon as possible. Then I could investigate what has happened. And in case if there is some kind of thing that I could do, I'll suggest it to them. Indeed, I'll be very happy to do. Don't worry about that. We'll see how it could be relieved. You could be relieved. Always we had good that you thought. Very good. Thank you very much for bringing those information. I'm really happy. I'm really thankful to your leadership, as well as
students came and spoke with me as well. It's very good, extremely good, because that's how we should discuss and resolve their issues. Don't work, we'll see. Now give him the details that you do have in it, with your CA marks, or maybe your final grade, you can give that information. And first, I need to investigate and see whether an error has occurred, I don't know. I need to check that, or whether the performance is not up to the mark. I don't know what. But even for that, I will see what could be done. I'll more discuss with the chancellor, your head of department, who is one of my heroes as well those days. So I'll be very happy to discuss with him as well as with Miss Jennifer. What could be done? Right. So we'll try to do the level best for the betterment of you. Right. So let's see. I will try and see. I need the details to check. I got few details to reference point now which I will investigate. Two students to just check it and then because the examination paper was good. The students did very well, but again, not as expected because it's checked by two examiners, examiner one and examiner two. So we'll see. I also was not paid, is it? I was not paid with the hospital. So we'll check and we'll get. So don't worry. I will once I get let me check what has happened. First of all, sit down. If you oh, it's it. Then what I saw was that marks. Now, when we conduct an examination, we prepare the examination paper as well as the marks. And then we send it to a moderator. The moderator moderates them. Usually upload. Making the questions, like that. And then what happens is, it's been checked by first me, the first examiner, and then it's again checked by that second examiner. So that's how it works. So let me check all these process and what has happened, particularly about the CA marks as well as generally the other marks as well, and see what could be done. Could be done. We'll see. So I wait for. So please help him to get your details if you have grievances, and then he will let him know, and we will try to see. I have no reference points to check it. Then you get reference points every day. I didn't talk about it. You don't have common check. We'll check. So thank you very much again for bringing that to me and highlighting that. So I can check this and I can see. In case the situation is that is, even then I will try to see what should be done. We don't paper either name, don't move it. The grievance, when there are grievances, we can put that under the carpet. We have seen what could be done. So I'm going to use some data analytics for that test. Compare with similar batch, what would be the general result? If the results are lower, then what are your results for the other batches, for other subjects? How you perform the things. By looking at those, then I could get a reference point, baseline. And based on the baseline, we could see what would be done. So it is a final general decline compared to other subjects, then all students should get the benefit. Not only who had to report as a thing. So let's see. I still cannot tell anything because I have not analyzed. Unless I do an analysis, I can tell it. Because it will be a great disservice if I tell something without going to be. A politician would tell what? One, the politician will deny anything. No, that's the marks, can't win. The politician. For the politician will tell a complete false thing. We had this. So I'm not a politician. our data analytics. So I need to analyze and see where and what has shown wrong. Or what has taken place. And then based on that, so see what has happened. That's how we always should look at issues. Issues should be analyzed further. Without analysis, don't try to give solutions. If you try to give solutions, that's what half-baked solutions. Analyze කරන්න නැතුව මේවා කරන්න නැතුව solutions දෙන්න යනවා කියලා කියන්නේ that's half-baked solutions. Sometimes it's not, they don't give solutions, but they say they give solutions. The best example is what? Politicians. You know, of course, solutions take then ඔක්කොම හරි දැන් රුළු තියෙනවා. Now, so what happened was my wife was she was pregnant then. So when she went, nothing to know how to shop once. So we were okay. But how now it's into the market? It was a rest of our nation. Never the bloody was. If it is okay, then she might say, but we resolved that issue. So after that, we didn't want to say that. I mean, that they can. Okay. So now let's come to the next analysis. That's called the regression analysis. So let me give a summary what we have done up to now. Up to now, we know what state is. Weeks back, we understood what status, how to open status, and how to create a data set in status. We understood. And even how to create new variables, etc., we now know. Even how to give value labels, we understood. But likewise, we had a thorough, in-depth discussion. Right? So that's what we had. Then what we did was, afterwards, we started doing descriptive analysis. Okay. Under descriptive analysis, what did you? What the descriptive analysis? What's the purpose of this? Now, behind all kinds of analysis, there is a reason. Why did you do descriptive analysis? It's keyword. You know, monkey having yes, I got that. Absolutely. Why do you do descriptive analysis? I'm getting that. Why do you do descriptive analysis? But to describe. Descriptive analysis. Describe. So we understood all kinds of important descriptive analysis. What are those? First of all, we understood what the type of the variable. The type of the variable could be a categorical variable or a continuous variable. If it is a categorical variable, what kind of descriptive statistics I taught you? Frequency. You know how to perform frequency. Frequency. You perform the frequency. It's a frequency analysis. So then, if it is a continuous variable, I taught you what to do. You can do several things. You can calculate what? You can estimate methods of central tendency, dispersion, and distribution, as well as methods of location. We calculated force using. Not only that, we did not stop with that. We even went for graphical analysis as well. Graphical analysis as well. So likewise, we discussed several kinds of analysis. Catapults are drawn, likewise, different kinds. Even histograms we can do. I'll show you how to draw histogram. So we did all those things to describe the sound. Then did we stop from there? No. Then we started with what? Correlation analysis. Then again the question comes, why did we do correlation analysis? Because I told you Bruce, state open no. Why did we do correlation analysis? To look at the association of the relationship between two variables. That's what we did, correlation. Now we are going to start with regression analysis. Right? The reason why we do regression analysis is to see the impact or to do a prediction. Right? So keep that in mind. Always understand the objective of doing an analysis. Descriptive analysis to describe the sound. Correlation analysis to see the affinity or the relationship of the two variables. Then regression analysis is performed, you'll understand for two things. One is to see the impact, the other one is to do a prediction. We'll do both. How to see the impact, how to do a prediction. We'll try to see both, how to perform. Okay. Prediction and Thomas. Impact and Thomas. Let's see how to. Okay. To do that, let's now download and open the regression analysis. So you can see data section 4, regression analysis. Data section 4, regression analysis. Please download and open that. Regression analysis. Regression analysis. So open the slideshow first of all. Please take down. Now, in bold black letters, regression analysis. Then left note is down here. Regression analysis. But today, on the the very important analysis that regression analysis. Regression analysis. So please take out regression analysis. Today, life-changing experience. Regression analysis. The purpose. Before you do anything, ask what's the purpose. Why are you doing this thinking? What's the purpose? So don't ask scary questions. Yes, to be an impactful professional definition. To have positive contribution to the society. That's the purpose. Likewise, ask the purpose. What's the purpose of doing a regression? I gave you already purpose. Purpose is to do two things. One, to see the impact. So the impact of independent variables over the dependent variables. Impact is the independent on dependent variables. Impact is the number one. Independent variables on the dependent variable. Independent variable on the dependent variable. The other purpose is number two, to do predictions. Predictions. So I'm going to show you both to see the impact as well as what to perform predictions. We'll check how to do this by using simple examples as we did also. Right. Then we start to understand You can say lecturers are coming to my lectures. Now what we have to say is, what's this regression? First of all, I told you that you are looking at independent and dependent variables, X and Y. X and Y. X is what? Only I told you that's the independent variable. Then Y is what? The dependent variable. I call it independent variable IV. Dependent variable DV. IV and V. Now you can see the relationship as a picture between the independent and dependent variable. What's that picture known as? Scatter diagrams. So you can draw scatter. You can draw these are dot diagrams. So let's say for an example, let's say salary and salary. Salary and satisfaction. I could see the salaries and what's the independent variable? Satisfaction is the dependent. So then I can take, let's say there are 100 employees, so I can take their salary and I can see the satisfaction. Give me a moment, important call. You are the extreme after these days because of the medical situation. Right. Salary and satisfaction. So you took several employees' data, you took their salary and you took their satisfaction, you measured it, and now you have graph. Then what you can do is you can draw a line. We call this what? The line of his field. The line that fits most of these dots. It cannot fit exactly all the dots, but it could fit most of these dots. This is called line of best fit. This is called what? Line of best fit. Or this is also known as the OLS regression lines. Ordinary least squares regression. Least squares, which was the what? Least distance. It fits most of these dots. It goes across and fits the most of these dots. So that's what we call the regression line. And this is what we are trying to predict. This is what we are trying to establish. So when you did your O-levels, long back, how many years back? 20 years. Maybe I did 20 years. Yeah, about 8 years, 9 years, 5 years. 8 years back. Maybe 8 years back, right? I did my own. Why going? You were not born at that time. When you did your O-levels, your maths teacher taught the equation of straight line. What's that? Y equals
y equals a plus bx. Can you remember? Again, extremely sorry, these all your stuff. So what's x and y? You already know. What's x? X is the independent variable. X is the independent variable. Y is the dependent variable. These are the dv and x is the I. Then A and B. What's A and B? A is the intercept. A is the intercept. Intercept. Then these are the slope. B is the slope. A is the intercept and B is the slope. Now, can you show me A in this diagram? Where's A? A means when this is 0, when x is 0, what's the y value? When x is 0, what's the y value? This is when x is 0, 0 into b is 0, and only a remains, that's the y value. Is it? Then b is what? The slope. B is the slope. So this was taught in your O levels. And I will write it. Now let me go a little bit beyond. Now you are in the university. Degree. Now AD can go to. So now what we say is y equals alpha plus beta x. Now we say y equals alpha plus beta x. Same thing. Alpha plus beta x. Use x to predict y. So here, this is what we are going to explain. Now here what we are trying to do is, we are trying to predict y based on x. So if you know the salary, you are able to do what? If you know the salary, you are able to predict the satisfaction. That's the idea of prediction. Right? You are trying to predict. If you know x, you can calculate y. But you have to know what's alpha and what's beta. Alpha is the intercept, beta is the slope. But my question to you is, can you predict something 100%? Can salary predict the satisfaction 100%? You can't. You cannot predict because satisfaction will depend on a lot of other factors as well. Salary is only one factor, is it? It can be gender, it can be age, it can be job status, it can be number of kids that you have, it can be the spouse. Likewise, a lot of things would impact the satisfaction. So therefore, there will be an error term as well. An error term. So let me put it here. Plus error term. Plus error term. That's not E. How do you pronounce that? Don't worry, I'm not an exam. I'm not going to ask you how to pronounce it. What do you call it? Epsilon. What? Epsilon? No. Epsilon. Epsilon.
Yeah, we also down okay. There are lot of because you know each is cover you give him the mission. You can download so you can work. Okay. That's called S-load. No, what's that called? X-load. Error. You are pretty 100% sum. Can you predict satisfaction 100%? No, there are other variables as well. So likewise, these what you have been taught in your O-levels. But now I'm going to extend that now. Now let me again put you into context what you mean by the intercept. Right? Now let's say the independent variable was income. The dependent variable, let's say, is rice consumption. Not pizza consumption. Let's say rice consumption. You will understand why I'm taking rice. What's the independent variable is what? Individual income. The dependent variable is what? Rice consumption. Now what's alpha in that? When income is zero, what's the rice consumption? When income is zero, X is income. When it's zero, what's the rice consumption? When income is zero, is the rice consumption zero? No. Still rice consumption. Look at beggars. Look at politicians. Beggars. Look at thieves. Politicians. Not in Sri Lanka. Still they don't earn a cent, but they can. Why? Because of donations. Or stealing money. So that's alpha. That's the industry. When X is zero, when income is zero, what's the consumption? What's up? You now understand what's alpha? That's the industry. Right. So this is again old level stuff. Now let me bring you to degree stuff. Then one degree stuff again. Right. These kind of regressions where you have one independent variable and one dependent variable is known as simple regression. A regression that has only one independent variable and a dependent variable is called a simple regression or a bivariate regression. Why bivariate? Because there are only two variables, independent and the dependent. That's called bivariate regression. But now I'm going to show you a multiple regression or a multivariate regression. This is called a bivariate regression. Bivariate, because two variables are or a simple regression. X and Y. But now let me show you a multivariate regression. I have given these notes, so don't worry. So this is a simple regression. We have one X and one Y. Here beta 0 is what? The intercept. Beta 0 or alpha, whatever you call it, is the intercept. While beta 1 is what? What beta 1? The slope. That's the slope. And what's this one? X slope. That's the error term because you cannot predict everything 100%. There has been error. So this regression is called a simple or a bivariate regression. A simple or bivariate regression. But indeed, when it comes to a dependent variable, is satisfaction, equal satisfaction, or life satisfaction only dependent on salary? No. It can be gender, it can be age, etc. So I could write it like this. Y equals alpha plus beta 1 x1 plus beta 2 x2.
So also there can be even beta 3 x3. Likewise, you can have any amount of independent variables. But finally, even if you put all variables, can it predict that 100%? Still, you might not be able to predict 100%. So therefore, you will have an error term. Now here, how many independent variables are there? How many independent variables are there? X1, X2, and X3. They have their own slopes. Beta 1, beta 2, and beta 3. They are found in the set slope. Right? In this case, can we call it a bivariate equation or a simple equation? Yeah, bivariate equation. Is it simple equation? No. Now we call the special name called multiple equation or multivariate equation. Here, it's called multiple equation or multivariate equation. You can see this diagram. There's x1, x2, and beyond. So, what's multiple equation or multivariate equation is that when you have more than one independent variables, more than one independent variables, you have a multiple equation or multivariate equation. Multiple equation or multivariate equation. So this is what you have to answer. But here you have an error. Because you cannot predict something, even if you can put all the variables in this world to predict the satisfaction or something else. So there will be still some error term. It will be limited, a smaller one, but it's one. So up to now, I have taught you univariate analysis, bivariate analysis, and multivariate analysis. What's the univariate analysis I taught you? What's that? Descriptive analysis. You take one variable and describe it. So it's called univariate. Right? You take only one variable. Right? That's why it's called univariate. Descriptive analysis is a good example for what? Univariate. You take one variable and describe it. That's called univariate. Then I taught you bivariate. What's the example for that? Bivariate is I took two variables. What did I do? What did I teach you? It's a regression. No correlation. As well as it could be simple regression. Simple regression is also bivariate. Good, that's only true. Correlation analysis necessarily is a bivariate. Correlation and simple regression. Then third thing is what? Multivariate analysis. Multivariate. What multivariate is? You have regression analysis, multiple regression analysis is what? A multivariate analysis. Because you have what? More than two variables. That's called multivariate. Is that clear? Univariate, bivariate, and multivariate. Univariate, you take 8 variables and you describe that. That's univariate. Now you have to look at age and you are to predict the satisfaction. That's bivariate. So you have to see the age and life satisfaction. That's bivariate. Now I teach you, you can also perform multivariate analysis. You can take two independent variables and predict the dependence. So we'll discuss all of this. You can discuss all of this and we'll discuss these as well. This is the theory that you need to know. Now practice. Practice makes perfect. So now let's see how to perform a regression analysis in state. For that, let's choose an example. Learning from examples, the best way to learn it, is it? Right. Read the example. Can you read the example? What does it say? A software firm collected data for a sample of 20 computer programs. A condition was made that regression analysis could be used to determine if salary was related to the years of experience and the score on the first program aptitude test. The years of experience caused the aptitude test and the corresponding annual salary in $1,000 for a sample of 20 programmers are given in the next slide. Task number 1. Tell me what are the independent variables and the dependent variables. By looking at this example, look at what are the independent variables. There are 2 independent variables and there's a dependent variable. But read it carefully. There are 2 independent variables and a dependent variable. Take your time. 2 independent variables and a dependent variable. Very good. I'm getting the answer. Accurate. Previously, one. Thank you very much. So here you closely, there are 2 independent variables. And there is a dependent variable as well. Salary of the computer programmer is a dependent variable. Then there are 2 independent variables. What are those? One experience, the other one is the marks that they get for the aptitude test. That represents what? Knowledge. Knowledge and experience predicts the salary. That's what it says. Experience has been taken in years, number of years they have experience. Then they have taken the aptitude test marks. Okay, look at marks. Aptitude test is the marks part. Where they get the knowledge. So what it says is simply knowledge and experience could predict salary. Knowledge is measured through the aptitude test marks. Experience is measured through number of years of experience. Now that's given in the next slide. Shall we see that? Consider. You can see, Buddha, there is salary, there is the marks, and there is experience. Now, what are the 2 independent variables? You told it. What that? Experience and marks for the score, as they call it in America, is what? Is what? The 2 independent. Experience indicates the number of years of experience. Score, the marks for the aptitude test, represents what? The knowledge. To predict the salary, there are 2 predictors here: the knowledge and the experience. Knowledge and salary is what? The dependent. So if I put that to a formula, an equation, if you call the regression model, it will look like this. So first of all, is this a single regression or a multiple regression? It's a multiple regression. Why? Because there are more than 2. There are 3 variables. 2 independent variables are there. So I could write this like this: the regression model
For the regression equation we call it. Writing the regression equation. Regression equation for model. You can write down salary equals alpha plus beta 1. You can say experience. Let's call it experience EXP. EXP is the experience, and beta 2 is marks for the score. And of course, there will be an error term because we cannot 100% predict the salary based on the experience and the aptitude marks. So there will be always an error term. That's fine. So this is called the regression model or the equation. Where do you remember regression equation or the regression model? Right. Now I'm going to teach you how to perform the regression analysis. How to do that, I'm going to teach you, and I'm going to teach you how to interpret the results as well. Don't worry about it. So alpha is what? The intercept. Beta 1 is the slope of experience. Beta 2 is the slope of what? The marks. Now, if I know alpha, beta 1 and beta 2 as well as I know what's the level of experience and the level of marks, can I predict salary? If I know these, alpha, beta 1, beta 2, then for any programmer, if I have given the experience and salary, can I experience and the marks, can I predict the salary? Yes. It's just to plug in. That's what we are going to do under predictions. So if you know alpha, beta 1, beta 2, right? It's just only to know what? What's any programmer's salary and marks, then you can predict their salary. That's called prediction. So we'll do a prediction as well. Right. So now let's see how to perform a regression analysis using this data. Right? Please take down. Performing a regression analysis. Performing a regression analysis. Performing a regression analysis. Performing a regression analysis. Using stage. First things first. What you need to have to do a regression analysis. The data set. Data setting has also a regression analysis. So first, let's download the data set. Data set is already prepared. Download it from the LMS and let's see how to perform an analysis. So go to the LMS. Go to the LMS. And in fact, download the second file which says what? Data session for salary. Daily file check it out. Download the second file. Delete පළවෙනි එක ඕනේ නැහැ. Download the second file. Let's say status agent for salary, sales agent for salary. Download the second file. Already download කරන්න එක if you want to download this support plan. Okay, edit කරන්න දෙන්නේ නැහැ. So download the second file and see whether the extension of that file is DTA. So see whether status agent for salary has an extension of DTA. A filing extension is DTA. SAV now I give the download card second file. Did you check that? Well. Anyone who is having SAV, please ignore that and download the second file. And same thing. One is in SAV is the SPSS file. Here you have got the data file as the second one, the same thing. So if you download the SPSS file, you can import the data. But why you should only about that, you can just open the data if you have the data. Right. Now, go ahead, open a fresh data session. The next step is open a fresh status. Fresh status session they are open. So I'm going to go to my usual search and go to data. Data 19B. And I open the fresh status. Yeah. Now open that downloaded file. Salary.dta. Session for salary.dta. This open. So I'm going to go to file. I'm going to go to open because it's a data file, so you don't need to import it. Open. And now open that part. Data session for salary.dta. Salary.dta. Open. And see whether these variables change. Experience for salary membership and the one. Membership again, the no Did you open it? No problem. Okay. And now give that file. Want to come up? Drops. Drops. Yes, it should look like this. You have the experience level in years. The marks, the score is there. The salary is there. Given in $1,000. $1,000 is here. And there's something called membership passage. Ignore membership for the time. Ignore the membership. Right? Ignore the membership. Now let's see how to perform a result. Now write down the steps that I will do. Go to the data main window. Close this data editor and go to the data main window. Now go to statistics, linear model and related, and go to linear regression. Write down the steps. Please. Statistics, linear model and related, which is the second one. Earlier we used summaries and other things. Then go to linear regression. Statistics, then linear regression and model related, and go to linear regression. Go to linear Go to linear regression and click on that. Is it fine? Already? Correct. Okay. Linear regression. Right. Now ask what's the dependent variable? What's the dependent variable? What is the dependent variable? Seller. Seller is the dependent. So the dependent variable choose seller. What are the independent variables? What are the variables? Marks, score, and experience. Experience and the score. Is it fine? Right. Experience. Experience is point at experience can go down to how it is experience and so marks. That's all. That's all. Now what you can do is you can just press OK. Press command OK. Oh, you get a nice table. Is it a beautiful table? Now we need to interpret that. Table has come, but how to interpret that? Right? There are several things that you can see in this table, but not all important. Now, here you can see, I'll come to this later, or maybe let's start with that. Right. Okay. First of all, you can see on the top, you can see number of observations are there. What are number of observations? In this case, number of computer programs. How many are there? There are 20 programs. There are 20 programs. That's what it says, number of observations. 20 programs. Right. Then there is something called R square. Can you see that? R square. You know the R square here. R square. It says R square. The 1, 2, 3, 4th one. R square. We write it as R to the power of 2. R square. R square. Since they can put R to the power of 2, they have written as R square. What's that? That's the explanatory power. You can take down a note. Explanatory power
of the independent variables. Explanatory power of the independent variable. Ask parents. Explanatory power of the independent variable. Now here, how many independent variables are there? Two independent variables are there. What are the two? Experience and the marks. Four are marks. So what asked that is these two variables explain the difference 83.42%. We express this as a percentage. But 83.42% of the salary change could be explained by the two selected independent variables. Right? That's the explanatory power. The two independent variables could explain the dependent variable 83.42%. You express that as a percentage. Now it's like 0.8342. No. You express that as what? A percentage. So what it means is 83.42% of salary is explained by the two independent variables. What are the two independent variables? Experience and the scope. Those two could explain the dependent variable. Those could explain the salary 83.42. Is it good? Yes. It's good. Higher the better. Higher the better. If the explanatory power is better, it's higher, that's better. Higher the better. Anything above 70% is good. On the other hand, it says that 17% that remains is explained by what? Some other variables not considered at this point. On the other hand, 17% of the variation of the dependent variable salary is explained by other factors not considered in the model. Okay, take down the note. Ask that indicates. Please take down the note. Note the Ask that indicates the explanatory power. Ask that indicates the explanatory power of the independent variables. The explanatory power of the independent variables. Of the independent variables or the dependent variable or the dependent variable over the dependent variable. Full stop. Or the dependent variable. Here, the R squared value of here the R squared value of 83.42%. The R squared value of 83.42%. Here, the R squared value of 83.42% indicates that the two selected independent variables. The two selected independent variables within brackets write down what? Experience and scope. Experience and scope. Experience and scope. Those patterns. Would explain could explain 83.42%. 83.42%. 83.42% of the dependent variable which is of the dependent variable, comma, which is employee salary. Employee salary. Employee salary. Full stop. On the other hand, on the other hand, on the other hand, approximately 17%. Approximately 17%. Approximately 17% of the variation of the variation of the variation of the variation in the salary variable of the salary variable is explained by other factors other factors other factors other than other than other than other than experience 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 and force of the employees force of the employees force of the employees. Did you understand? So R squared is an equation power. And finally, what we have to understand is the R squared higher the matrix. R squared variable function. Okay. Other that's it. R squared very less. So please take down a note, right? That we have come from R squared. I will go forward from there. Until the idea here. So R squared is there. Yeah. So I have, so there are a lot of things that I have discussed. There's no time for today. So now we have the academics. And the girl is fine. After taking now. These are some of the overall what is validity. Then I come to the prediction equal. And I will do a prediction with you as well. But we have time for that. So practice is practice correlation and division of this one. So now let's say attendance.